Did they make
No,
contact?
I don't know. It's pretty close, but this is going to be a drag race.
Right
Look at
there,
this.
moves
Wow.
him to win it. Carl Edwards, bump and dump and run.
Here comes Gordon, right up to the bumper again. The bump and run.
There it is.
Didn't mean to really turn around, meant to rattle his cage up.
Yeah, welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael DUI, joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Riley and Eric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves, well, I don't know what kind of weekend. I hope you had a Philadelphia Eagles type of weekend. No, I don't know. We're in Pennsylvania. I figured,
Go Birds.
Go Birds! Go Birds!
Yeah, hometown.
Anyways, Bump and Run is back. Me and Matt are in our tuxedo t-shirts. Do you want to explain why, Matt, we're in tuxedos if you're watching on YouTube and not listening at home?
We had this like grand plan of doing like our own version of an award show, but like making up our own categories. And we were doing pretty good with all the planning of it, but just one thing led to another in the off season. As you guys all know, we've been away for a while. We had every intention of doing at least one or two more episodes in the off season, but it was refreshing to kind of take a step back, venture into other things. Eric and I were consumed. We were just talking about it. Eric and I were consumed with football. It seems like more this year than I ever have been, which was awesome. The season's been great. And it was just nice to take a step away from NASCAR for a little while. It's refreshed us. We're ready to go. This is the beginning of season 3. Do it for Dale. And we're ready. But yeah, we were going to do this award show with funny categories and things like that. We even ordered tuxedo shirts. It just didn't materialize. So maybe we could do something for like the All-Star break. We could do like a mid-season award show or something.
Yeah, we'll have to do something. Like Matt said, we had a lot of great big plans for the off season, but you want to know what, that NASCAR season, it was a grind this year. We only had one off weekend, and I feel like we've all just been relishing one of those words in the off season, enjoying the time off. You guys enjoying football. I've just been enjoying my hobbies. I've been playing guitar. I bought a bass for myself after Christmas. It was on sale. Couldn't give that up, and just been chilling, hanging out with the girlfriend and the animals, and enjoying my other hobbies besides NASCAR. But like Matt said, we're getting ready to kick off season 3 here. We'll have our Daytona preview show to officially kick off season 3 in a couple weeks. But since the Clash is coming up this weekend, I figured, well, we have no more time to wait or waste. We have to get back in the saddle, as we would say. But how was everyone's off season? Eric, I know you've been enjoying the football season, especially. Your Jaguars were in it up until last week or so?
Yeah, last week they put up a good fight. They had a chance. It was a season that I didn't expect. So that is why I kind of went all in with it. Once I knew that, we kind of were turning it around, we started winning games, and I'm like, okay, there might be something here. And we ended up making a good run, winning 7 games in a row to get into the playoffs, beat a division rival to get into the playoffs. So like I was fully consumed with NFL football. And, as a Jaguar fan, 2017 was our last, long playoff run. And besides that, it was 2007. So, Matt being a Jets fan, again, we do not have a lot of, put it this way, winning seasons or even winning more than 3-4 game seasons. So anytime we could win or get close to even on the season, it's something to watch and look forward to every week. So, I was watching the football. I had people over to watch the games up at the hall, just like I do on Sundays for the Cup race. Always excited to have, your friends support you and your team, and, with football and NASCAR. So that's why, my buddy Tom and, Kevin Dowse, Eagles fans, they come up, they were supporting my Jaguars, as the underdog. So I support my friends back and local team, the Birds. So I am going for the Birds because, Jacksonville lost to the Chiefs. I don't want to see them go. You know what I mean? Give it to the Birds. Screw the Chiefs. So that's pretty much what I've been up to. And like you guys stated, it was good to get grounded again, like let everything go. get back to just a normal pace of life instead of, like you said, the 36-week NASCAR season is grueling. Even for us podcasters, it gets, it gets tough, but no, it was nice. It was nice to have that break. It would have been cool to do the shows. We did have a ton of stuff planned. But at the same time, in hindsight, I'm kind of glad we just decided to, get that rest we needed so that we are energized and ready for this season. And we were texting the last couple of weeks, and Matt and Whitey were like so gung ho about it, and like I'm like, the switch is flipped. I'm ready to do NASCAR. The Jets lost. Whitey's on a full. He's like, I'm ready. The Clash is coming. Yeah. And I was just like, nope, sorry, boys. Like,
Jaguars time.
Nope. And I'm like, I'm football. And like, I was not even focusing on NASCAR at all. And I'm back. I'm ready. Football's over in my eyes last week once Jacksonville lost. So it is. It was right back to the grind on Twitter, social media, looking at, like, normally I'd scroll right past NASCAR stuff. Don't care.
Yeah.
Nope. Don't want to do it. Now, every little thing, every little headline I'm clicking, reading comments, like, oh, what is this person? So, yeah, I'm getting back into the wormhole of the NASCAR season.
Yeah.
And to kind of, sorry, Whitey, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, like, yeah, I was in the same boat up until about 2 weeks ago. I really started to get the NASCAR itch where, you start going back and watching old highlights and clips and stuff. But for like November, December, half of January, I was same boat. Just I would scroll NASCAR Twitter to keep up to date with everything, but I wasn't as invested probably until the Kevin Harvick news broke. I'm like, okay, now the season is approaching,
And to kind of piggyback off what you guys are saying, life is moving fast right now. Life is moving very fast. Days are conjumbled together. This offseason flew by. I'm sure, not unlike us, a lot of people missed a lot of news, a lot of NASCAR news this offseason, which is why we're jumping on here. Yes, we'll preview the Clash later on, but this is more of a catch-up. Get everyone caught up who might not have I know a lot of our listeners aren't on Twitter as active as we are, so there's a lot of stuff that they could have missed. So today's going to be a news catching up day. Everything that really, all the big bullet points that happened in the offseason, so we can all be brought down to the same page here, heading into essentially the beginning of the season this weekend. It's my birthday weekend, NASCAR. I want to thank you guys for I sent in a couple of requests asking you guys to start the season on my birthday. So February 5th, Sunday, the Clash is also Matt Riley Day.
Hell yeah.
No, I'm just joking, but it is my birthday. But that's definitely taking a backseat to NASCAR coming back on Sunday. I'm like you guys said, I'm officially back. I'm officially excited. I cannot wait. Even seeing the race on in the background of Whitey's screen there, just that little screen, seeing racing is getting me excited. I watched a little bit of I kept checking into the Rolex 24 this weekend. That got the juices flowing. Seeing Stevie Letarte on the TV talking some racing got the juices flowing. So I'm ready. I'm excited. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I meant to ask you about that because I didn't watch much of the Rolex. How was it? Was it interesting?
So, so I didn't see the ending live, but I did catch a highlight of it. Apparently, like
the ending was amazing.
It's a 24-hour race.
I saw the highlights too.
Yeah. When I say I checked in, like I would flip it on, I'd watch 10 minutes, and I would just kind of see what was going on. So everything that I saw was kind of stretched out, but a 24-hour race, and it came down to literally like the last turn of the race. I'm sorry, not even the last turn. It was a pass at the finish line.
At the finish line, the tri-oval,
yeah. So a 24-hour race, and these guys are literally finishing at the exact same time. So yeah, a wild ending to a long race. But yeah, like I said, just the little clips I saw, it's got me excited. I'm super ready.
All right. Well, like Matt said, we have a shit ton of news to get to. So let's jump right into it.
The Bump and Run NASCAR news.
All right. First off, a sad piece of news for us, at least. I don't know. I feel like this guy gets shit on unduly. Vince Welsh will not return to Fox Sports to broadcast the Truck Series. And I'm really upset about it. I think Vince Welsh does a really good job. I enjoy him as the voice of the Truck Series. And I'm not sure what happened, if it's budget cuts or what. I didn't see who was replacing him. But what do you guys think about Vince Welsh out at Fox Sports?
We talked a lot about football, and when you watch football games, you have the staple voices you hear, and that remind you of the sport of football every Sunday, every weekend. When you hear that voice, man, it's football. We're ready for it.
Yeah.
He had that voice, he had read that recognizable voice. And, I don't know if there was any issues. I loved him. I thought he was great. So like you said, Whitey, whether it was a misunderstanding, budget, something, I think it's a big loss for Fox Sports and the Truck Series.
Yeah, he was the voice of the Truck Series, and it's going to be a huge void. Did they make an announcement on who's going to be the replacement? Is it going to be Jamie Little? I know she did ARCA races.
I didn't see that. I'm not sure. We'll have to go and look to see. As far as I know, there is no replacement lined up.
Well, he was the play-by-play guy. You got to have someone in there.
Well, yeah.
You can't just leave Mikey up there to his own devices.
Just leave him all alone trying to.
Did they have Jamie Little trying that a little bit last year, trying to get a woman in the booth to do a little bit of the play-by-play?
She did the ARCA races. Yeah, she did the ARCA races. She did good too. So I would assume that was her. There's got to be a release somewhere. I mean, the season's starting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to go back and double check because, like I said, this is months of news. And that was the first story after our last episode, so I'll have to go back and check that. Speaking of broadcast, though, Kyle Busch's documentary Rowdy will premiere actually this week on Amazon Freevee. I don't know what Freevee is. I'm assuming it's just the Amazon streaming app, but that's coming out February 3rd. So what's that? This Friday?
Friday, yep.
Have you guys heard anything about the Rowdy documentary other than it's coming out? Because I forgot that this was a thing. I remember when it was first announced, and then I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, I haven't. I think I saw like a little clip somewhere along the lines. I'm interested in it because Kyle Busch, you guys know this. Kyle Busch off the racetrack is completely different than Kyle Busch in a race car. He seems like from the outside looking in, he seems like he's a great dad, great husband. So I'm kind of interested to see what that goes into, what kind of information we kind of get out of him. Maybe we see a whole new side of Kyle that maybe we didn't know. I feel like he's one of the most misunderstood dudes. He was misunderstood by me for a long time,
Yeah.
And really over the past maybe 3 years, I've really started to appreciate him. And, me being a new dad myself, seeing how he is with Brexton, really changed my perspective on him.
Yeah, it makes me wonder too if it's just a documentary on his life or if it's going to be like a docu-series, kind of like they've been doing. Because if it's a docu-series, I'm really interested in what happened this year with this whole contract negotiation stuff like that. We saw a little bit of it in Race for the Championship on USA, but I'm really curious about how that whole thing went down.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I remember seeing in like the, I don't know if you want to call it a trailer or whatever, they were covering when he broke his legs and kind of his return back to the sport.
Okay.
So it might be backdated all the way back then.
Might be
I'm not sure. I wish we had more information to give. Yeah.
Well, I guess
I'm more or less curious to see how Amazon does this.
Yeah.
Because if Amazon does this and they do it well, then I would be on board with them maybe doing a TV deal with NASCAR. But if they don't do this well, they didn't do Thursday Night Football well, and I don't know. Now I'm a little nervous when I heard that, Amazon is in the running for a TV deal with NASCAR.
Yeah.
And as much as it, I think, would be a right move because of how big Amazon and where they're going and, money as far as that goes. But like the product, man, I did not like the Thursday Night Football product that Amazon put out. So I think that's where my mind went. I didn't really care about the Kyle Busch thing. I was just like, ooh, new TV deal. Amazon. Is this like a way that like Amazon's trying to get into NASCAR by doing a Kyle Busch thing and maybe kind of getting their toes wet? So that's where my head went.
It can't be worse than Fox's coverage last year. And Fox has been doing it for 20 years, 20 plus years. So maybe it's a spark that NASCAR needs. That NBC obviously we're more than on the record.
NBC wants to renew.
Yeah.
I did read that too. It was in the same article that I read. I forget who put it out, but they were talking about NBC wanting to renew and that Amazon might be in the running or they are a player right now as far as for the new TV deal in 2024.
So right now, according to Adam Stern, this is 10 hours ago. Fox Sports and NBC both want to renew their NASCAR TV deals past 2024, and then Amazon is most likely a candidate to pursue a third package that might carve out for the streaming company, because that was the rumor. They want to have 3 different broadcasters. I think one for the middle of the season, and then NBC would pick it up for the playoffs only. So, I mean, if Amazon does well and if the ratings on Rowdy do well on Amazon and Amazon decides that maybe NASCAR is worth it, who knows what kind of money they might throw at them to get that deal done. I also heard rumors about ESPN. I would love to see ESPN come back. Although the last time they had the NASCAR properties, there was a lot of hiccups and stuff with their broadcast and just getting it right. But I mean, only time will tell. It should be interesting. If you're hearing Amazon, usually where there's smoke, there's fire. And if they're producing a Rowdy documentary, I'm sure this is just the first to lead ahead. Speaking of purchases, though, Dale Jr., Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, and Justin Marks purchased the Cars Tour, which is a late model stock tour down in the Southeast. What do you guys think about those 4 teaming up to own their own late model stock series? They say not
Super
much is going to change.
I think it's perfect because they all have the same mindset and passion for the sport of NASCAR. And I feel like this is their way of going old school, grassroots, start it off where it's all going to begin and kind of get their NASCAR mentality and experience and knowledge and start down at that series at the lowest level to get a little bit more, or we want to call eyeballs on it. And just, that's a way to grow the sport as well. And we've talked about this on the show. Start at these local tracks and get kids interested. And, you know, to me, that is where I think my head goes with Harvick's kid. And, you know, it just seems like that is going to be their life for the next 20 years as well, with their kids trying to get up through. So why not be a part of it all the way through to help not only advance their own kids, but other kids, you know, around them? Because if their kids are good and they're racing against a bunch of schmucks, that's not going to make them better. So I think their goal might be to, hey, let's get every aspect of this motorsports that leads to that person driving in the Cup Series. Let's try to iron that whole thing out and maybe streamline it a little bit better. That's where my head went with that whole purchasing thing. Other than that, like, what are the? It's not a. They don't need to make more money. They're not doing it for money. So like, they got to be doing it for the good of the sport. That's where my head went.
That's what I think. And like you said, Eric, you know, they're all kind of historians, you know, specifically Dale Jr., but all of them are historians of the sport. They're, you know, so, you know, it's going to be in good hands. They're going to take good care of it. They're not just going to go and mess this up. I think it's kind of a way also to bridge the gap between the national series and the local car series. So, we'll see. You know, we'll see. Hopefully, you know, it anything that grows the sport in any way whatsoever, I'm on board for.
Yeah, I think it's I think you need good development at the grassroots level, and I think those are the guys to keep grassroots racing going. I know they're all super passionate. They're stewards of the sport, and I'm sure there's a lot of great talent down in those lower grassroots series that we don't know about yet. That, who knows, maybe it's going to be a little feeder system for junior motorsports. I mean, that's where Josh Berry came from, you know, and look at the success they're having right now. Speaking of legacy, though, Petty GMS Racing rebranding to Legacy Motor Club. Now, Eric, I'm most interested in your opinion on this one because you are the resident Petty GMS fan right now through Eric Jones. What do you think about the new name and the rebranding package and all that? Now that there's been a couple of weeks to sit on it.
I love the rebrand. I love that the black and the gold. It's sharp. It's sleek. It's classy. It looks great. The name, on the other hand, I could take it or leave it, but I've never been part of a club, so now I guess I am. So that's kind of cool. Like, I'm in. Yeah, I'm part of a club, but it's a little cheesy to me. You know what I mean? Legacy Motor Club. Like, I don't know. It sounds kind of like, grade schoolish. Like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, icky boys and girls. Oh, give me cooters. Oh, my club. Like, it just seems childish. Club. I don't know why to me.
Yeah.
I go that route, but besides that, overall, I think it's great. I know what you're gonna say, probably, Whitey, because you did mention it. Like, as far as Petty not being,
oh yeah,
like Petty isn't no longer part of it. But I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's gonna pay off huge for that team and my driver Eric Jones. But yeah, I think the colors, the gold and the black, like it's sharp. I like it. Classy. Looks classy. Fits Jimmy too, by the way.
It does fit Jimmy. I agree. I love the black and the gold.
Yeah.
The only thing that kills me is the motor club. It reminds me of a motorcycle club. Like, that's exactly where my head goes.
Yep.
I think Sons of Anarchy,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think they missed out on a unbelievable marketing strategy here. What was Petty's longtime sponsor?
STP.
7-time Performance Racing, STP Racing. 7-time Jimmy Johnson.
7-time
Petty. I think they missed out on an awesome opportunity there, but whatever. I think it's fine.
That's a great name. If I'm sitting at a boardroom table, I'm like, yeah, sign me up for STP Racing.
Racing. There's a lot of connections there.
Yeah.
7-time Performance
Anything
Racing.
but club. Anything but club. I'm just gonna say it.
Matt,
Legacy Motorsports. Leave it at Legacy Motorsports. Leave it at that.
Yeah.
Legacy Motorsports. Leave it at that.
Yeah.
The club at the end. What are we? A cracker company? Let's get it together.
But at this club, crackers are delicious, and like you said, never been part of a club before. I don't know why.
I guess there are more things in club than you think.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like a football club, like a soccer team. But you want to know what? It's starting to grow on me too, though. Like,
yeah, you're just gonna hear just like the number movement. It's just gonna happen, and you're not even gonna notice it. But on that same note, I don't know if you had it down any longer, Whitey, or whatever. I really didn't look at it, to be honest. The Jimmy Johnson hiring, Denny Hamlin was asked about it. And Matt, you sent it. And I kind of had to agree. How do you guys feel about Jimmy Johnson coming back? Denny said he hated it because he raced against Jimmy. He puts Jimmy Johnson on such a pedestal because he was so hard to race and so dominant while Denny was racing. And like, Denny knows he's going to struggle when he comes back. Denny knows he's not going to be racing against the Jimmy Johnson that he used to race against. And he's like, I kind of just wish he let his legacy go and just do it. And like, I agree with Denny. Besides the fact that it's not a full-time thing. I like the thing. If you come back full-time, agree 100% with Denny. But since it's only 5 races, come on. Give me Jimmy back on the track.
But also, what's the difference if he did come back racing full-time or not? Because the last 2 or 3 seasons of his career were not great at all anyway. So who cares? Let him come back. He's going to run some races. He's going to have some fun. He gets to run in the next-gen car. So, he's earned that. He's 7-time, man. He is one of the 3 best this stock car racing has ever had. So I'm excited. I'm a champion of Jimmy Johnson. I love him so much, and everything he stands for. By all accounts, obviously I don't know the guy, but apparently he's just an awesome dude. So and I think it's huge. I don't think enough is being made I think it's huge for the development of Noah Gragson.
Oh, huge.
And Eric Jones.
Yeah.
And Eric Jones. Yep. So I think this is huge for those two to just pick that brain of someone who has won 7 championships in this series.
And to go along with the Noah stuff too, like they knew that he has issues with anxiety, throwing up, who his personality is. And I think this is kind of like a mini check and balance on their own hire. Like, okay, we're gonna sign Noah Gragson, but we're also gonna bring on Jimmy Johnson to help mentor him and make sure he doesn't continue to slide off the rails like he was in, what was that, 2 years ago at Junior Motorsports when we all had a problem with him. And we're like, this kid needs to figure it out and figure it out quick.
Yeah.
And, I think Jimmy's one and Junior actually, he got to him that second year and he did a tremendous job at turning, who Noah was maybe going to turn into. And he stopped that dead in the tracks, Junior, after all those incidents. So, I think it might have been like a little safety net for them too.
Noah ended up winning over the 3 of us here at the Bump and Run podcast. Not that matters in his mind, we're nobodies to him, but yeah, we, all 3 of us were very critical of him. And over time, listen, I'm a Gragson fan. I'm rooting for him through and through. And Eric, now he's your teammate, so what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So you want him to do well.
Yeah, we all did a complete 180 on Noah Gragson for sure.
But he did enough to show us. That's why.
Sure.
We didn't just do it out of the blue because, he won a couple races. No, like we saw the
progression of it all.
Yes.
I'm going to disagree with Denny Hamlin. I understand. A lot of people have been saying like, oh, Jimmy Johnson coming back might tarnish his legacy. How do you tarnish a legacy like Jimmy Johnson's though? Think about Richard Petty himself. Between his last race win and his last race, it was almost a decade. It was like 8 years. So, I mean, no one thinks any less of Richard Petty's 7 championships than that.
I think Denny was coming more of like from a driver racing against them standpoint. Like, you know what I mean? Like Denny wants to race against the Jimmy that prevented Denny from winning championships back then.
Yeah.
That's who Denny wants to race against. And I think that's more of like, I guess a personal thing, a racing thing that like you might get as Denny, like to, we don't even understand. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be able to understand that because I didn't play against the best of the best.
And at the same time too, though, that makes sense. You want to be going up against guys that are out there to perform and everything. But like, what's Jimmy really looking to do? He just wants to run a couple races. So like, I don't know.
And plus, dude, and he's looking to help his team.
Yeah.
That's, hey, if he's investing into it, he wants to get out there. Maybe, hey, tap into that knowledge.
Let's see. That's what we call it. I forgot we were doing a new segment here.
Well, we can that's kind of an easy segue into, talking about the his new podcast, which is where Denny kind of spoke on Jimmy Johnson. I know, Whitey, that was one of the news segments, so I figured we could just jump ahead if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just talk about that.
It's only 3 segments ahead too, so we're good.
Perfect.
I don't even have to scroll. Denny Hamlin is starting a podcast named Actions Detrimental under the Dirty Mo banner. I love that name. I think that's a fantastic podcast name because didn't he get fined or something, or wasn't that something they want to do, like fine him for actions detrimental to racing? Jesus, that's a tongue twister for me.
Yeah, and one thing that we all know about Denny is, listen, he is going to speak his mind. He's going to let it fly. So I think that is going to be yet another great podcast out of the Dirty Mo Media center over there. I think Mike Davis is gonna Mike Davis is the guy who runs Dirty Mo Media for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's gonna pretty much let Denny say whatever the hell he wants to.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be one of those things where, listen, I would have loved to have Denny have this podcast last year when he was going through everything with Ross Chastain. He would have let some stuff out on that podcast. So
absolutely,
if he gets into another dust up with someone, he's going to let it fly. That. And he doesn't care, if he offends people either. So he's going to say what's on his mind. I think it's going to be a great podcast.
I think it's going to be great too because more and more athletes are doing this now. Active athletes, I should say. I know Barstool, they have Roan. He does a podcast with Pat Beverly, who's an NBA player, and if you know Pat Bev, he likes to speak and say whatever he wants to say, and that's why their podcast is so enticing. Because after, let's say, a game where he has a mix-up on the court and he's in ESPN or whatever, that he goes on his podcast and he hashes it out and says what he wants to say, and like it's such an insight into what actual athletes in that sport are thinking, doing, and saying. You always want to know, I wonder what they're talking about, like after the race, like what's going to happen. And like, well, with Denny and his new podcast, he's going to talk and say exactly what happened in that race. So I'm excited because Denny is one of those drivers, I think we could all agree, where we kind of are up, down, respect him, as a drive. But like, he irritates you, quite often. But then he also throws out some great one-liners that you're like, man, I think I love Denny again. Yeah. So I think it'll be a mixed bag of emotions where you're going to get a lot of juicy headlines from that and a lot of good information that you might not get otherwise.
Right.
Speaking of up, down, in thinking about a driver, someone we were talking about personally earlier today, Kyle Larson, says he's going to run the double in 2024. And if you don't know what the double is, of course, the Indy 500 is on Memorial Day weekend, the same day as the Coke 600. He's going to attempt to do Indy 500 in the early afternoon and the Coke 600 in the evening. What do you guys think about Kyle Larson running the double?
I love when drivers go for this. I think it's exciting as all hell.
Was he ever in an open wheel vehicle before or anything? Like, what has he driven? Like, as far as
I know, no Indy cars. That's for sure.
So that to me is a little. I mean, I don't know how many other NASCAR drivers had done it previously, like Kurt Busch, how much experience he had before he did it. You know what I mean? So that would be a little concerning if I'm the owner of that car and whatnot. And I'm sure Larson could hop in anything and drive it. But I'm excited for him. I hope he could do it. You always want to see them do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Matt said, like anybody that attempts that's crazy. It's an insane thing to put your body through and just to even attempt it. So I hope he gets it done and represents our sport well.
So only 4 NASCAR drivers have attempted it. Can you take a guess who the 4 are?
Tony Stewart,
Smoke, Kurt
Busch, AJ Foyt.
Nope. Never did the double.
I know this. Hold on. We talked about this last year. Kyle didn't do it yet, did he?
No, not yet. He's talked about it. He wants to.
He's talked about it, right?
You'll never guess these two. Do you want me to tell you?
Oh, Red Farmer.
No. Well, I was down in a short track in Atlanta, and Bobby Allison came down.
As soon as you say it, I'm gonna. Go ahead.
John Andretti. He did it once, and Robbie Gordon attempted it
Robbie Gordon. That's who I was thinking
times. So John Andretti attempted it once. Robbie Gordon attempted it 5 times. Smoke did it twice, and Kurt Busch did it once. So Kyle Larson will be the 5th driver to attempt it, and we'll see how he does in an IndyCar. I feel like that'd be super interesting to see.
Has there ever been an Indy guy do it where, like, obviously, like his series is IndyCar, and then he's coming over to NASCAR down to Charlotte to do it? Because it seems like it's always been NASCAR guys trying it, but has an IndyCar guy ever tried it? I don't think so, right?
I don't think so either. I'm gonna
probably because like that's their Daytona 500. We're just NASCAR drivers. They're just going in to just do it and come back.
Maybe Tony.
Tony did it while he was a NASCAR driver. He wasn't an Indy driver because.
Okay. So
John Andretti tried it first in 1994, and then Tony Stewart did it in 2001. That was his first attempt. And
no, I think Tony did it earlier than that because he had a good story about how Dale Senior busted his balls about doing it.
Maybe he attempted to it. I don't know.
I wonder, like, think about IndyCar. Grip. Ton of grip, right? But reaction time, you need to have it. Dirt racing, 0 grip. Did I lose you guys?
No, we're here. I'm
doing some research.
Dirt racing, it's like 0 grip, but you need to have that reaction time. So, like, I'm curious to see, like, how that transitions those two skill sets. You know what I mean? Like, with the super grip, but that reaction time you need it with IndyCar, and like, I think he has the reaction time there, but he's used to a slick run the top being loose. Like IndyCar, I don't know. I feel like that would be like the car would be more tight and like just a grip. Like
99 and 01.
01. So in 99, he first attempted it. And I'm reading now about he had issues in qualifying because he had to fly to do qualifying, then fly to do the Winston Open, then fly back. So yeah, 1999.
That's what I was gonna say. It's got to be tough because the whole month of May for IndyCar is blocked off for Indy. You know, they're doing races, they're doing qualifying, they're doing practices like all month leading up to the race. So like Larson's gonna have to be pulled away, like not just that weekend, I would assume, right? Like he's gonna have to be going back and forth between his NASCAR life and
you're gonna have to put some time in.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to put some time in, yeah. So just keep that in mind with fantasy, boys. You know, maybe not. Don't use Larson in that time frame.
You had to do it, Matt. You had to do it. You already brought up the F word. You already did it. You can't. It's too early to be bringing up the F word.
Listen,
Look, he's already going up. Look, he's getting red already.
Listen, I forget how many points I lost second by, but it wasn't many. And
got a redemption year coming up,
and all those points count, especially early in the season. That's when you gain your big lead is early in the season. So, yeah, thank you for reminding me, Matt. I will not be playing Kyle Larson for the Coke 600 at all. Let's see, where were we? I don't even know how to segue into this.
Listen, this is, guys, just like the Clash is an exhibition race, this is our exhibition race. So just everyone listening, just bear with us. We're knocking the rust off. It's been a long off season. Just bear with us.
Listeners that have been around, they know.
They know the deal by now. They know.
What's going to be our excuse week 28 of the season when we're still screwing up?
Well,
comment down below if you've been if this is your third year listening to the Buckle Up podcast. Put up the 3 for Dale if you've been listening for 3 years.
Yeah, baby. Speaking of 3 and the Clash, the top 3 finishers at this weekend's Clash will receive a gold, silver, and bronze medal like the Olympics. We see Eric's reaction there. Matt, what do you think about that?
I was on a different screen. And all I heard was the fart noise.
I hate it. I don't know why. It's just like the club, Legacy Motor Club. This seems like kind of just cheesy in my eyes. Like we're taking it from other motorsports and trying to make it ours, but like we never did that. So it just feels like an awkward first date.
Yeah. I don't want to be one of those guys who sounds like a boomer who's like, nah, it's not my sport. Right. But like some things are not for NASCAR and some things are. And we've tried, this year we're doing our first ever street course. That's not typically a NASCAR thing, but they're trying it. I'm cool with that. But like the podium finish, like F1 and Indy does it, like let them have that. Like we celebrate the winner and the winner only. So I don't know. I'm with Eric. I don't like it. I guess I don't know if they're just doing a podium thing like other racing series do, or if it's because it's in the Coliseum, it's an Olympic thing.
I assumed it was because it's in the Coliseum and it's like an Olympic thing,
That's
like
what I thought too.
Yeah,
yes.
Either way, not for me, Clive.
Because listen, there's no way it goes forward from here because NASCAR hates the victory lane anyway. So it's like they're never going to bring that
right?
back. You know what I mean? They said screw victory lane. We're going to interview on the
racetrack and be done with it. Don't bring that up. I want that back so bad. God damn it! Maybe Amazon will bring back the victory lane
I doubt that.
celebration.
Well, you want to what? Maybe. Who knows? Maybe Bezos' team is listening to the fans on Twitter and we're taking notes. Yeah, bring back the Victory Lane interviews. But you want to what? I'm going to go against you guys and say I kind of like the idea of... No, I'm lying. I think it's fucking stupid. The medals, I get why. Like the Clash at the Coliseum is kind of neat. I don't know. I just think it's cheesy as shit. But I guess the Clash it's supposed to be cheesy to draw in casual eyes.
Was this a NASCAR decision or was this a Fox decision?
You want to what? Ooh, that's a good question. That is...
I could totally see this being like Fox being like, I have a brilliant idea. Listen,
we
don't just
medals.
have like the winner. We have first, second, and third. And like, oh, wait, they get medals.
Yeah.
All different. And like, someone like, dude, like, yeah, we get it. Like, it's not this breakthrough fucking idea.
You know how we draw all the guys as cartoon characters? Let's draw them as Roman warriors and they're in the Coliseum.
Oh, yeah, they'll have like Joey Logano doing like a shot put or like, you know, like something weird like that in a graphic for sure.
Oh,
God,
sure they are.
the other F word. We're talking fantasy Fox, man. I'm getting flashbacks now.
Oh, that's another F word. Oh my God. All right. Speaking of flashbacks, Tyler Reddick flashing it back to the Xfinity Series this year. He's going to run a part-time schedule for Sam Hunt Racing.
That is great. I love that for him, Whitey.
Me too. I'm really excited. I feel like he when he runs the Xfinity Series, I feel like he runs better too. And I feel like he got the raw deal because he had a lot more races set up for later on in the season this past year. And as soon as he made the announcement he was going in 2311, they started putting like anyone else in the car besides him. With what was it? It wasn't SS Greenlight, but it was one of those backmarker teams that's affiliated with RCR. But I'm excited. I enjoy some Saturday racing, and that'll make it better for me. Let's see. Todd Gordon, former crew chief for Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney, Cup Series championship winning crew chief, coming out of semi-retirement, crew chief for Jimmy Johnson, at least for the Daytona 500, but I think it's for the whole entire season. What do you guys think about? Should have brought this up during the Legacy Motorsports, but what do you guys think of Todd Gordon coming out of retirement?
I think that's a great choice. It would have been cool if Chad Knaus came out of retirement, but he's with Hendrick and Jimmy's not, so the inner team thing wouldn't work. So, but yeah, it's cool. I mean, listen, Todd Gordon is as good as they come. You know, like you mentioned, he's a championship winning CC, so why not?
Yeah,
I'm on board. Anytime you bring back a big name, I think that's what Jimmy wanted. You know, probably somebody that knows, you know, him and his style and what he go. Get someone that understands me. I only need him for 5 races. I want someone that I have a rapport with, and let's make this happen. I like when they bring back vets like that.
I know we'll talk about it more in 2 weeks heading into the duels, but he's got to qualify for it, right? Like he doesn't have a charter.
He'll get it on speed, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
For sure. But I mean, we've got Travis Pastrana coming out going for it with 2311. We've got Jimmy. Who else?
There's a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Is Helio trying to get or no?
No.
He's not.
He's not. They made that announcement. Actually, I saw yesterday. I tuned into the Rolex 24 for like 10 minutes, and he was being interviewed. He goes, "Yeah, unfortunately, he's like, I would love to do it. I want to do it. We were trying to make it happen, and it just kind of fell apart." I know he's
normally one of them that tries to get in and run in the 500.
Yeah.
And then there's Eric's buddy who Villanueva.
Oh yeah.
Jacques Villeneuve? Is he gonna run the Open again too?
I think I saw that he is.
Well, you want to what? We will do some more research.
The money team.
We'll do some more research, and we will let you know during the Daytona 500 preview show coming up the week after the Clash recap show. So we will let you know going into Speed Weeks for sure. And like Matt said, Travis Pastrana will attempt to qualify for the Daytona 500 for 2311 Racing. That was the next one on my list. So thank you, Matt. We're checking them off pretty quickly here.
Real quick here, Whitey.
Yeah.
You're talking about Travis Pastrana. I have to I have to mention a name here because if you're listening to our podcast, you're a fan of motorsports.
Yes.
We lost a legend, Ken Block.
Oh,
Ken Block. Absolute legend in motorsports. And I was showing a coworker today, Brad Keselowski, for his test car.
That was such a cool car.
It was one of the sickest paint schemes I've seen on a new car. And Brad, his were great last year, but he did a tribute to Ken Block and one of Ken Block's, famous paint schemes that he had on his car. And, he did a little Instagram video about, what Ken meant to him in motorsports, and just that dude was a legend. He was crazy. He was doing stuff that everyone else was afraid to do. And he loved anything that went fast. And it was cool to see Brad Keselowski in the NASCAR world bring up his name and honor him with the paint scheme. So I had to bring up that RIP Ken Block. If you don't know who he is, just YouTube Ken Block, Gymkhana, and you will see some of the craziest driving you have ever seen.
Like stuff that doesn't make sense. That's possible.
He might have been the best driver, ever. Whoever walked Earth.
He just had complete control. He's just a through and through wheel man.
He just had complete control of any vehicle he got behind the wheel of. It was just, I admittedly don't know too much about him, but enough, to be shocked when I heard about the passing of Ken Block. And the whole motorsports world lost a legend for sure.
Yeah, absolutely insane what he could do behind the wheel of a car. And just a huge loss to just car culture in general. I feel like you don't have to be a motorsports fan to appreciate Ken Block. I feel like he's just one of those names synonymous with the Monster Energy and everything, just all DC shoes, all that stuff. But huge loss. All right, we mentioned the Indy road course or Indy street race earlier, and I gotta tell you, the concert lineup they set up for this, sign me up. Chainsmokers for your pop fans, Miranda Lambert for the country fans, the Black Crowes for like your classic-ish type of rock,
alternate,
and then Charlie Crockett for your
sign me up.
Yeah, dude. I love all four of these acts for different reasons. I'm all about it.
Charlie Crockett's gonna blow. He's gonna blow up after that.
I think so too.
Performance at NASCAR.
So Eric, you know Charlie Crockett better than me and Matt probably. I know Charlie Crockett because of you and you showing me songs of his and stuff. Explain a little bit, like, who is he? He's like up and coming, or?
Well, not really. I mean, he's been around for a while. He's one of those, what would you call him? Like an indie artist, or someone that's like
indie country artist. Yeah,
like he just goes around and he is just playing as many shows as he can, trying to get his music out there. And he's like an old school troubadour, like where he started out playing in the subways.
Yeah.
So he would play in the subway and just trying to get noticed, do anything to get, up and get to Nashville or get to wherever he wants to get to. But his music, you might be able to better explain like his style of music. It's not like country, but it's not.
It's like Americana,
it's like blues,
like
Americana,
folk rock type country. It's
Dude, this guy might be. I've never heard of him before. You guys just brought him up, and I'm just doing a little bit of research here. If you just Google image search Charlie Crockett and just look at the array of pictures, like you could tell he's like kind of like an eccentric, like he's a little different.
Yep.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think I would like this. I'm gonna actually have to listen to his music because just looking at the pictures of him, it's like, ooh, I feel that vibe. I feel the vibe that he's giving off.
I'll say right now, listen to the album. It's called The Valley.
Yeah, and
okay,
great.
Okay.
This is gonna be weird. Great set of teeth on him too. He's got a nice smile and set of teeth. Makes me want to root for him. I wish my smile was that big and bright. Someone I'm not rooting for. Chase Briscoe. He signed a multi-year deal to stay at Stewart-Haas Racing. We'll see if he can not wreck the leader this year. What do you guys think about Chase Briscoe re-signing for Stewart-Haas Racing?
I think it's a good hire. Obviously, the talent is probably there. Whitey's bias coming through a little bit here with the Briscoe thing. But no, I think it's overall a great hire. He's obviously showed that he has what it takes at this level to go out there and win races. So now they just have to build around him.
5 words for Chase Briscoe. Breakout racer of the year.
Okay. I can see it. I happening. I thought last year he was going to break out early on with that win at Phoenix, and you want to know what? Like all sourness aside with the Tyler Reddick dirt stuff, like I think it's great that they're re-signing him. I think that's solid for Stewart-Haas Racing. He's young, he's developing, and I think Matt, I think you're right. He might be the breakout star this year. Maybe we'll discuss that more in our Daytona 500 preview show. But speaking of Stewart-Haas Racing, his boss, Tony Stewart, returning to the Fox booth for the Clash this weekend and the Daytona 500 in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Does this weekend count as a week? I don't know. 2-ish weeks.
3. I'm thinking I'm going 3.
Daytona 500 the week after the Super Bowl. What do you guys think about Tony coming back to the booth?
Dude, excellent. But that's not the smartest thing that man has done this offseason, because he got SRX onto Thursday Night Thunder with ESPN. I think that's going to do wonders for that series. I am so excited that they're Thursday nights now. They're not on Saturdays where, in the summertime, we're all busy. We're all either out around a fire, or we're out at dinner or something, where Thursday nights, it's the perfect night in the summer where you could throw on some racing and really just enjoy what the SRX series has to bring.
Yeah, I agree. We didn't mention it earlier in the news. I believe it was the last news story we covered last podcast, but I agree. I can't wait for Thursday night SRX. I think all three of us, we wanted to really get into SRX, and just because it's Saturday nights, it's such a struggle. So I'm all aboard. And like you said, too, it's one of those things like have a fire outdoors and maybe bring out the TV out onto the back patio or something like that. Have it going in the background and stuff. Maybe set up a projector outside and get it going on a Thursday night.
Not like a cold beer on a Thursday night. You know what I mean? A little bit of racing on. I'll take that any day.
Isn't that the Zach Brown Band song? Cold beer on it was Friday night. Well, nothing wrong with starting the weekend off a day early. Am I right, fellas? But I
start Tuesday, Wednesday sometimes. So
Eric never stops.
Shout out Andy's Cafe.
Eric takes breaks on the weekends now and only drinks on the weekdays, which I think is fantastic. Because you need those 2 days on the weekend to relax and recover.
Rest, dude. That's rest. Weekends are for rest now.
Oh yeah, Sundays, man. Sundays for rest. Whatchamacallit, I think it's great he's coming back to the Fox booth. I wish it was for the whole season. I believe Fox is going to do the rotating booth again this year, which, yeah.
See, that's my whole thing, too, with the whole, streaming service. Okay, they want to have 3. Why? Why not keep it consistent? Why not have a little bit of consistency?
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's all I ask. Just give me a little bit of continuity, and I don't have to be like, oh, that was a shitty thing. Not to pick on anybody, but that when Danica was in there, brutal.
It was garbage. All she did was talk about IndyCar. That's all she did was talk about IndyCar.
So that just bring. I don't know. I don't mind. Pick the best of who they had last year and just rotate them.
Yeah,
you had your sample last year of the people you brought in there.
Tony Stewart,
2-3 of those, and
Matt
keep
Kenseth.
rotating them.
Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth. That's all I need. I thought they did the best.
And Junior, but Junior has a whole half of the season, so you don't even need to bring him back. We get enough of him.
Nah,
he does a good enough job with NBC.
Nah, bring him back for the whole season. I want Junior 36 races out of the year.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I want everybody there.
Speaking of Indy cars, though, NASCAR looking to return to the Indy Oval sooner than later, with talks as early as next season. What do you guys think about abandoning the road course at Indy and going back to the oval, the yard of bricks?
Makes sense, because you're adding a street course. You added this road course. You added that road course. It's about time we got rid of a road course.
Yeah.
To only have the best of the best, just like you had the guys in the booth. Okay, you messed around with a sample of road courses. Now we know what we could get. keep the best ones around and then start playing around with other things. So I'm curious about the next gen here. I think it deserves a shot on the oval. And if it does perform well, iconic racetrack. I know it's not necessarily NASCAR iconic, but still iconic as hell. And I would love if they went back to the oval. I'd look to try to get there and see a race at the oval.
Yeah, I would like to do that too. I think seeing it as the traditional layout would be really cool.
Indianapolis is a really cool town, a city too. It's a clean city. It's got a really rich racing history too. So yeah, I would love to go see a race there. When you fly into Indy too, like like the track sticks out like a sore thumb too. So it's a really, really nice city. And
it's like in the downtown too, like the race, like the city's built around the racetrack, right?
Yeah. So yes. And then kind of like what Eric was saying too, is we haven't seen, we know the history of stock cars on the oval at Indy. It hasn't been great racing like ever.
Yeah.
But give this next gen a chance. I said maybe do pack racing on it, but it doesn't have the banking, so I don't think it would work like it does at Talladega, Daytona, and Atlanta.
No.
So just make it its own thing and just see what happens. Give it a shot at least. It's got to be better than what we saw last year on the road course.
Yeah, I'm curious how they would do it with the added downforce that this car produces and stuff like that. I'm afraid it would get strung out, but I'm willing to go back just to see. Let's give it a try, and if it sucks real bad, maybe do it for 2 years and then go back to the road course. See, just keep going back and forth. I don't know. I feel like the road course is there. You could use each. Speaking of Indy cars, though. Kind of. Casey Mears is looking to come back out of his retirement to run some select races with hopes to hit 500 career NASCAR starts. He is 11 away. What do you guys think about Casey Mears?
He was always one of those guys for me that I was just very indifferent about.
Yeah, the only thing that I could think Casey Mears was fantasy. He was a good back marker like Reed Sorensen in that 13 Geico car. He would always be in that.
Good for Talladega.
Yeah.
See, I don't know much about Casey Mears besides like if I get it correctly, because I didn't watch NASCAR at this time. But I always heard that he was like a good prospect that kind of never really got the opportunity to run up front. Is that accurate? I don't know.
I would consider him in the same realm as Michael McDowell. Like they both were in like shitty cars in the back, but they had glimpses of talent. And like, if either one of them went to a Gibbs, a Hendrick, or whatever, their career might have lasted a little bit longer or been better. If you look at McDowell's eyes, you know what I mean? I think he would have had a lot more seasons like he had last year. Throughout his career, if he got better opportunities. So yeah, you're right in that aspect.
Dude, to go on a rant though, like Michael McDowell, I get having loyalty to your team, but he just flat out said he's like, I'm not leaving front row ever. I'm like, I guarantee that some opportunities could have opened up for Michael McDowell with a better team in the last 2 seasons since he's been performing, But I guess, maybe you want to build the team up too. So it seems like he is kind of,
He is. Let's put a little respect on this guy's name, guys. He is a Coke 600 winner.
Michael McDowell?
No. I'm sorry, Casey Mears.
Oh, Casey Mears? Yeah. Oh, okay.
He won. It's the only cup race he has to his name, win-wise, is the Coke 600 in 2007. So, hey, he's done that at least.
Yeah. Hey, who knows? Maybe he comes back in those 11 races and he rattles off the other 3 crown jewels. What a story that would be. Absolutely insane. Never gonna happen, but you never know. It's fun to speculate. I got 2 more pieces of news, and then we'll get into the preview here. Hurley, the apparel company, is teaming up with NASCAR. I thought this was really interesting for a line of beach and surf clothes. And Noah Gregson will be one of their endorsed athletes. What do you think about the brand Hurley teaming up with NASCAR? Like on the left field for me, but
no,
I kind of like it.
Not. Look, you're trying to get more people into the sport.
Yeah,
the main drivers and talent coming up are between 20 years old and 26 years old. So like you're not going to the Bud heavy drinkers anymore and like the old school guys, you're going towards the younger college crowd. And, this is NASCAR's way of trying to say, hey, like F1, you're trying to get the younger demographic. Well, we're going to get a clothing apparel and we're going to try to sneak our way in and steal some of those young kids too. I think it's kind of a competitive way. I think they're trying to stay relevant in a certain age bracket and trying to get fans from that age bracket.
The thing is, though, is Hurley relevant now? I mean, I know, like,
I don't know. I mean, I hear the name. Obviously, we know the name Hurley.
Yeah, because like, so
we live in Pennsylvania where we don't see the sun or surf. So I mean, maybe that has something to do with it.
Well, I was a skateboard kid growing up, so I wore a lot of Hurley shit that I got at PacSun at the mall, trying to look cool. And
but I think PacSun is done. I think all those stores.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is that shit relevant anymore? Are they trying to get like? Because I know right now NASCAR, like 90s NASCAR jackets are coming back in a big way. So is this like
the neon?
Yeah,
so the
neon's back.
So it's it makes sense to me. I think
is Hurley trying to jump on NASCAR to save their brand, or is NASCAR trying to jump on Hurley to get to a different demographic? I don't know.
I think they're sucking each other off. Or, I mean, they're wow. I didn't mean it. Dude, I honestly
Glad
don't
my
know
mother
why
listens to this.
They're both helping each other out, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. We're back, baby.
We're back.
We're back, baby.
Oh.
Who needs to? I was gonna say rub off the dust.
Oh, my bad there, boys. Started throwing stuff out. It just came out. Like my brain knew what I wanted to say.
I get it. Speaking of sucking off, Rob Lowe is gonna be the Grand Marshal for the Clash. Didn't he get in trouble for something like that in the 80s?
I think he did.
I think he did.
Yeah. See, it all comes
full circle. Oh yeah, baby. And speaking of Clash, that's exactly where we're going. We're going to the LA Coliseum.
Can I just reach out, right? Can I just take this opportunity to just speak to Rob Lowe's lawyers? I didn't say anything there. So when you guys get subpoenaed,
it's okay
for liable.
All right. Well, you want to know what? I said, didn't he allegedly get in trouble for something like that? So we're good.
We may have to figure out a way to get all of that edited out of the podcast. That was a disastrous 90 seconds.
I could edit it out. I am not going to. I love it. All right. Speaking of what I love, NASCAR is coming back, baby, this Sunday. It's the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum. The festivities kick off Saturday. We have group practice. We're going to have 3 groups as opposed to 2 groups that we normally have. That's at 6 p.m. on FS1. These are all Eastern Standard Times. 8:30, they're doing qualifying. And I'm assuming it's a qualifying effort for the heat races. Or maybe it's Daytona-style qualifying, because then on Sunday, the 5th, 5 p.m. on Fox, we have qualifying Heat 1. Then 5:15, Heat 2, 5:30, Heat 3, 5:45, Heat 4. Then at 6:10, we're going to have some last chance qualifying races. And then at 6:35, we have another last chance qualifying race. So we're doing 4 Heat qualifiers. And then we have the last chance qualifiers. We have 2 of those. And then, of course, 7:05, we have the pre-race concert, 7:50 driver intros, and then 8 o'clock, the A main race starts. Tell all of your friends, though, that the festivities actually start at 5 p.m. on Fox, because I don't know why Fox does this. It's a NASCAR thing, too, because they do it for the All-Star race and everything. They only ever advertise the time 8 p.m. for the main event. But there's plenty of racing all day long starting at 5. So let your friends know, let your family know. That's why we're doing this podcast, to let you know, spread the word, spread the butt cheeks.
I knew it was coming.
The heat qualifiers are some of the best racing you'll see, which is a shame why they don't stay 5 o'clock.
They didn't. Last year,
that's where all the action is. I mean, shit, Ty Dillon. You know what I mean? Like this
bull
time
in the
last
shiny
year,
shop.
yeah,
he was wrecking everyone.
It was great.
Ty Dillon last year put on a hell of a show. He might have been the show for the Clash last year. And there's like no one in the stands because I think they thought it started at 8 o'clock,
right.
You know?
Right.
But Ty Dillon, he must have drove himself through the field at least 3 times, beating and banging, got himself kicked back to the back of the field for too much beating and banging. It was fucking awesome. I can't wait.
So, Whitey, that first qualifier is for the front row. That first qualifying session.
Okay.
That's for the front row.
That makes sense. So then it's like Daytona style qualifying where the front row's locked in. Do those guys get locked in on their time then? And then they get to... Is that how it happened last year? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think because I think it was just like this. You lock the first two positions, 1, 2 are locked in, everyone else in the back.
Okay. You want to know what?
Now I don't know. Now, if it's like Daytona, I don't know if they still have to run their heat races.
I think it's all coming back to me now. Last year they didn't, because you remember Martin Truex Jr. didn't run his heat race.
You're right.
Because he qualified it on time, and then he did terrible too throughout the race, so it kind of bit him in the ass. And that was the question. If you're already locked into those front rows, do you run the heat races just to get a feel for the car and make adjustments? And I don't think they did. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch out for. Good point there, Eric. I like it.
Okay. I mean, I could read this whole thing. I don't really feel like reading this whole thing. But if anything that we said is confusing to you as far as the format goes, it is laid out quite clearly on NASCAR.com.
All right.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. I don't want to read all of it because I feel like I'll just be rehashing a lot of what you guys just said. But the format is on NASCAR.com. It's the same exact format as last year. It's unchanged from last year. So. And if you enjoyed it last year, there's no reason why you won't this year. And
it sounds like the qualifying races are essentially the same as the qualify. Was it like 4 people get in?
Yeah,
right,
So if you also remember last year, we had that massive parts shortage where I think a lot of the teams were being careful. It was also the debut of the next gen car.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe I'm wrong here. I haven't heard of any part shortages this year, so I would expect maybe a little bit more excitement. Not that they weren't exciting last year, the races, but I would expect a little bit more beating and banging this year.
Okay, all right, I like it.
Just a prediction. I'm not basing it off of anything. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we see it because you want to know what? I'll be honest with you. Like Eric said, the show was those heat qualifiers. They were fucking awesome. And then the main event, kind of a stinker. Not gonna lie.
Did Denny launch a helmet? Someone launched a helmet.
Oh no, it was.
Remember, because there was only one angle from it, and it was from like the top of the Coliseum. Someone caught it on like a cell phone cam.
It wasn't a helmet. It was the Hans device.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Was it Denny
or Kevin? Maybe it was Harvick. Might have been Harvick.
No, it wasn't Harvick. Oh man, it was someone that got taken out early. Busch.
Oh, it was.
Was it Blaney? It wasn't Blaney, was it?
No, I think it was William Byron.
No,
I think it was Slick Willie 2 Clocks.
No, Haley got taken out early by Larson. I remember that. Larson just hit him right in his back bumper and just sent him into the wall.
It was Blaney.
For sure, it was Blaney.
I'm like 95% positive. Ryan Blaney, Clash. Let me see here.
I think it was Blaney too.
Yes, yeah, it was. It was Blaney. It was confirmed. Ryan Blaney throws his Hans device on the track.
There we go. I got the memories.
Tempers were flying a lot. Wouldn't Blaney be the perfect spokesperson for that Hurley deal?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know. It depends on what kind of branding they're supposed to go to. I feel like Blaney's an enigma where he could do anything.
Yeah.
You know, you need him to be country, let him grow a mustache for a week.
Yeah.
You know, you need him to be clean cut.
You need him to be rock and roll. He could be rock and roll.
Yeah. He's like Ozzy and Maroon combined into one.
The chameleon. That's the only way I'm referring to Blaney from now on.
The chameleon. All right. Do you guys have anything else to add to the podcast?
Oh, we're still recording?
No, the only thing that I had was the Ken Block stuff that I wanted to remember to mention today. Yeah. That was like the one thing that I had where I'm like, you know what? That feels like something our listeners would appreciate it being new.
You want to what? Something I know I missed. We did a video. I did a video on it on the YouTube page. Kevin Harvick retiring this season. Yeah. It'll be his last.
Oh, yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on Kevin Harvick retiring? Think
He's a legend. Time? He's a legend. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think it's time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good time too, because like, you know, we didn't see a dramatic fall off like we've seen with so many people. Like he won 2 races, although before that we thought we were seeing the fall off. But yeah, I think you rattle off a win and then ride off into the sunset. You know, I think it's a good call. And I hope that's why they're doing the rotating booth this year, keeping it open for Kevin Harvick to slide in next year. I think that's been the plan the whole time.
Yeah, I think so too.
How about you, Eric? What do you think?
I was trying to make sure my cat wasn't about to piss on my friggin' couch over here. No, Kevin Harvick, like Matt said, legend, first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. But I think, like Matt said, it's his time. Like he just, you know, there's his purpose has been fulfilled in the sport. You know what I mean? And like he left his mark, and now, you know, him, Junior, Justin Marks, and you know, now they're going to help this next generation of drivers. And I think he's going to be a good fit for that.
Plus, he's got Keelan, who's heavy into racing right now, starting his young racing career, that he can help focus on that as well.
And Keelan's like racing overseas too and stuff. Yeah. So I guarantee that adds a whole other mess of logistics as a parent. Yeah. It's not like you're just going to see your kid play football down the road, you know?
Right.
No, I think it's the perfect time, and I can't wait to see what happens this season. I can't wait to get the podcast going for this season. Felt good to get back in the saddle here in the chair and behind the microphone.
I cannot wait for, I guess it would be the Daytona preview. So next week we're going to be doing the Clash, the review of the Clash, and are we going to be doing a season preview, predictions, things like that? Or are we going to save that for the Daytona episode?
We'll save that for the Daytona episode. Well, you want to we'll workshop it between us. We'll figure out what we want to do.
Because I've got some hot takes. I've got some predictions that I want to get off my chest.
All right. Well, you want to what? The predictions we probably should do after the Clash, since we'll have an idea of what the cars look like, and then we'll do our Daytona preview. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Clash winner, go, Matt.
Clash winner? Oh shit. Nah, pass. I'm not ready. Not ready.
Christopher Bell.
Slick Willie two clocks. I'm going Byron. I don't know why. I just am.
All right. I'm going Christopher Bell. He's my sleeper on short tracks.
All right. I'm going with Christopher Buescher.
Chris Buescher. I like it. He did really well last year, I think I remember. Or no. I know Brad struggled.
He might be my breakout driver of the year.
Okay.
All right. High hopes.
I also know what happened last time I started heavy on RFK racing last year. So
yeah,
I might want to pump the brakes.
Falling down the same path.
Well, you want to what though? Side note, we did have we have some inside information for Matt. You were at a work event for Fastenal a couple months ago or a month ago.
Yeah,
what did he say?
I talked with Brad for a minute or two, and he did say that the back end of the car was being worked on. He knows that, because obviously we had all those safety issues, right? Last year, they had to address that in the offseason. And it's really weird that I've seen zero things about that progress on Twitter. Like, no one's talked about that. Have you guys?
No.
Just in the past week, I saw something. Where they had like the cutaway car. They were showing, it wasn't an actual car that they were showing. But they did have like, I think it was like 3 or 4 slides or pictures that showed the differences. Like this is what it was to what it is now.
How it folds in, how it's gonna, yeah. And like, I'm assuming they did something with the fuel cell to protect that too. So Brad Keselowski said literally to me that I'm the source here, that they were working on it. He did joke that he still didn't want to be the first one to test it, but that was back in early December. So, a month ago, almost 2 months ago at this point. So,
and didn't he say didn't he say they're making strides at the shop?
Yes, he did. So maybe put some money on RFK this year to get a couple wins, because he seemed pretty confident when I asked him how their season was going to look. He said,
maybe I'm a year too soon last year.
Maybe you want to know you're a trendsetter. He
said they're taking the momentum from the end of last year, and they've got high hopes for this year. So we'll see.
All right, and I've got high hopes for this year too. Looking forward to the season starting and getting it kicked off in LA this weekend on Fox, 5 p.m. The qualifying heats start. 8 p.m. is the main event. You don't want to miss it, and we will break it all down for you right here Monday night on the Bump and Run podcast. For Matt the Statman Riley, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night.
The Bump and Run.